So your Insta profile says food obsessed traveler. So
Yeah,
how much has travel influenced your cooking?
enormously. The risk sometimes, certainly being a chef and more so being in business, is that you become insulated and cut off from everybody else because you're working so hard. If you've got your own restaurant, you tend to get locked down, in the four walls of that place, your own staff, your own ambitions and drive, and you need time to step out and think. And often creative thought, actually most often creative thought is not something you can force. It comes from somewhere else. It comes when you're walking, the dog on the beach, or you're taking a trip to Singapore, or you know Vietnam or India, and you see something that's surprising and interesting, and that captures your imagination. So it's really, really important. And the more I travel, the more I realize that cooking and food is an endless source of fascination for me.
So sustainability and mindful eating has become the in thing right now.
Yeah.
How do you incorporate these values in your
I
cooking?
think I think the risk is that they're throwaway comments. I think that I find what I find interesting at the moment. People are more interested in food than they've ever been. Consumers are more in tune, or supposed to be, with what they're consuming and what's sustainable and what's from a place. But I'm not entirely convinced that the message really has got through. I think it's our responsibility as people that love food and that are chefs, hoteliers, restaurateurs, to and producers, to keep shouting the same message, because I think we live such a busy life, fast-paced life. We just forget. No, let me rewind that. We live such a busy and fast-paced life. We don't pay attention, and there's a saying that says, "If you don't cook, you don't care." And what's meant by that, it was another chef, a friend of mine, that said it, is that when you're cooking an omelette and you're cracking those eggs into a bowl and you're whisking them, you're often thinking about where those eggs are from, whether they were raised sustainably, whether they're from the provenance of those eggs, where they're from, animal welfare. All of these things you connect to as you're making that omelette. Not everybody, but most people. If you just order that omelette, there's no thought. It could be from anywhere. Those eggs could be from the worst possible place. Chicken's treated terribly, and so you've got no connection to a place. So I think there's a lot of lip service. Certainly in Australia, we probably, even though we say it, we're not paying attention enough. I don't know if I'm getting the message across properly, but more work, a lot of work has to be done. We need to stay focused. And people carry around an expensive handbag, and they're proud to show it off. But we don't carry around those eggs, and we're not proud to show them off. They're the choices that we make in life, and we should be really proud that we're making the right choices and doing the right thing.
And you seem to travel a lot to India. What
Yeah.
is it about this country you like the most?
It's just I'd say it all the time. It's the color, the culture, the enthusiasm. We've got a lovely shared sense of humor, the Indians and Australians. I think we've got a healthy disregard for authority, which I love. I love the idea of laws being just suggestions. I just think we've got to keep those people that are above us honest. So I like that. And the country's beautiful. It doesn't matter where I go. I've travelled quite widely now. So whether it's the Himalayas, Nagaland, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Maharashtra, wherever it is, I find it an endless source of fascination. So I've done a bit of reading now over the last 4 or 5 years, particularly. A lot of Indian history, some Indian fiction that I've kind of locked into. I've just read The God of Small Things and The Inheritance of Loss. I've read other books like Anarchy and Empire by William Dalrymple. I've got a better understanding of what makes the country what it is. So yeah, it's
So
endless source of fascination.
what brings you to India this time?
Gonosh. Well, first of all, Nat Geo, because I filmed the last of 10 episodes of India's mega festivals. So that was Holla Mohalla up in Punjab. So we were up filming for 6 days up in Anandpur Sahib, which was just absolutely wonderful. Another glorious festival to celebrate. And then Gonosh. I've had an association now for just on 2 years, starting from online masterclasses to physical workshops and masterclasses, special events. They're a wonderful team of people, young, entrepreneurial, essentially an online delivery platform underpinned by home cooks, which is, I can relate to enormously, having been a judge on MasterChef for 11 years. So we are at Taj City Centre in Delhi. We're in the Ritz-Carlton in Bangalore and the West End here in Hyderabad, so we couldn't do it without them. And also we paired our dinner with the Ardmore, the Legacy, which is a Speyside whiskey. So yeah, we couldn't do it without all these people. And it's nice when all these things come together and, deliver, unique events to, people that want to come and experience them and see them. So yeah.
Yeah, so you must have sampled a lot of Indian food. What is it you like the most? Something that's a must-have whenever you come to India.
Yeah, look, it's interesting. That question gets asked quite a bit, and now I'm reframing it and going, well, give me some context, because we all know that India's huge. Breakfast where?
In South India.
Okay, where in South India? You got a particular? Do you want to be in Kochi or do you want to be in?
Okay, Hyderabad.
Let's
Hyderabad.
Get to Hyderabad. Okay.
Yes.
Breakfast in Hyderabad. Oh, now you've really put me on the spot. Actually, I had an omelette this morning. But what do I like? Coming to Hyderabad, what do I most love, actually?
Any food. I mean, tell me in Hyderabad what you like.
Because there's so many dishes. For example, we went. It's Eid. Right now, or just finishing, or just finished by the time you watch this. But halim, biryani, mandi, beautiful, dry. I'm trying to think of the word. Actually, hang on a second. Give me a second, because I make notes when I'm here, because I forget when I get home what I've eaten. And on this trip, for example, mutton marag. I really enjoyed that this time. So it's a rich, beautiful, slightly spicy stock. Partha Kargosh, which I loved. Halim, Sevian, Mandi. We had a couple of different biryanis, and actually Pachi Pulusu, which I've never had before.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, these are the things that I've latched onto, and they go onto my list of must-haves when I come back to Hyderabad.
It's a must-have in summer. Pachi Pulusu here is must-have in summer. It's cooling.
It's cooling, and it's it's unlike the the similar dishes that I've had before. So really lovely. So yeah.
So how do you think Indian food has influenced the culinary world?
Now's India. I think India's coming into its own in many ways. We know that, right? Economically, and in my industry, hospitality, tourism. And young Indian chefs are exporting ideas now that the rest of the world's paying attention to. So it's really coming of age. So that idea of people saying, "Oh, it's just butter chicken and big heavy curries" that we associate maybe with the north, dal makhni and all these kind of payasam, nahari, which are all delicious, but the rest of the world needs to kind of open its eyes and see kind of the variety, even the dishes that we've just mentioned, see the kind of variety and complexity, diversity that India has to offer. And these young guys and girls are doing exactly that. Instagram is a great medium for the transfer of information. It's instantaneous. So chefs around the world are seeing what young, really good top chefs in this country are doing, and they're taking those ideas. So it could be anything. It could be a little idli or an appam from the south. It could be a momo or a dumpling or from the northeast, or something fermented and funky and foraged from the northeast. Like fermented mustard greens. So yeah, I think these are starting to feed their way into global trends.
Yeah, one last question. So kitchen is a very intense place to be. There's a lot of pressure when you're working.
Sure.
So how do you handle the pressure, and what's your tips to all these aspiring chefs?
Yeah, it takes time. I think one of the greatest risks, and we've been talking about this with the young chefs that are working with us on this trip. So we have a group of trainees that work with us. So they get the chance to work with us, learn from us. And the issues are exactly the same everywhere in the world in kitchens. It's about managing your own well-being, your own mental health. You need time out. You need a system that you can rely on. System is the wrong word, but steps that you can rely on, that you can relax into. You're working hard in the kitchen. You need time in the fresh air. You need time to yourself, time to think. It can be walking. It could be running. It could be just sitting down in a quiet space and reading away from your telephone and not flicking through endless, 6-second reels.
Yeah.
And they sound silly, but when you're working a 10 or a 12-hour day and it's stressful and intense, you need the opposite of that to to stay healthy. Exercise, of course. Having people you can rely on that you can talk to about your problems. Mental health is not something to be kind of swept under the carpet. And often organisations, restaurants don't have the resources to be able to support everybody in the team. So we've got a responsibility to look after each other. There's a campaign in Australia at the moment going, "Are you okay?" Which is, ringing up a friend. "Haven't heard from you for a while. You okay?" So, there are important things to stay attuned to. And with that, it's managing your own time. Understanding that you can be highly productive in short bursts, but over long periods of time, it becomes less and less so. And so your ability to learn, your ability to create, are compromised. So these are important things. It seems like a big subject, but when I talk to young chefs, like this week, it's just kind of reinforcing the idea of taking that responsibility and making the right choices. All important steps, and then the rest will come. Learning from someone, finding a mentor, forging your own career path. It will come.
So, dinner with Gary, what have you got for Hyderabadis?
Well, we got 7 beautiful curated dishes. We've got a vegetarian and a non-veg menu, and a couple of things that we really like at the moment. We've got a really gooey croqueta, crisp croqueta with a sashimi grade tuna, yuzu koshu, a little bit of toasted nori as one of our snacks. We've got a chive waffle with rillettes of salmon, so there's a little bit of a Frenchy influence, but a bit of Japanese influence. And some of our dishes that we've had great feedback from, savoury Bass cheesecake with confit smoked tomatoes, which is paired with a neat pour from the Ardmore, the Legacy. And actually with the first cocktail we have, which is an Ardmore cocktail, it's quite aromatic. And that's being served with a confit of duck, a little bit salty, lentils, a crisp radicchio salad, and pistachio, a sweet glaze and pistachio. So it's a nice little combination of flavours. We've got Australian lamb with a bastilla, which is a North African pie with black garlic and purslane. And then dessert, we're playing into the mango territory because it's mango season. So we've got, in previous cities, it was Alfonso. In this city, it's, what's a variety of mango? It begins with B. You might have to help me. Banganpalli.
Yeah.
There you go. See, I need reminding. Do you know what it means? Banganpalli? Do you know what the
It's
variety is?
just a name.
It's just a variety.
Yeah.
There'll be an English name. But anyway, Banganpalli. And we're doing that with a white chocolate mousse, coconut ice cream, mango gel, and we're doing a 1,000-leaf crisp, which is a particular way of preparing puff pastry, not in the traditional sense. So it kind of fragments and you can see all the little layers. So it's a beautiful menu. Very pleased. Had great feedback so far. So if you haven't been for the dinner and you're coming,
Yes.
see you there.